Welcome back to Smarter Markets at IETA's North America Climate Summit 2024. I'm joined now by Alfredo Nicastro, Senior Vice President and Global Head of Carbon Market Solutions at StoneX. Great to see you, Alfredo.
Great, thanks. Thanks for having me, Dave.
Absolutely.
Nice being here.
I'm curious, everybody comes to these conferences for different reasons. What brought you this year and what were you hoping to talk about with people?
Okay, well, first of all, this is a very important week, right? So Climate Week is a very important week. So the IETA event is one of the milestone events where we meet with peers. We come not only to this event, but also all of the other side events that we have opportunity to talk to market players, to potential buyers, or to fintech companies that are innovating in our industry. So I think it's mostly to connect with our peers, to continue growing our business. And of course, since we are a global company, financial services, we're always looking for innovating and providing additional solutions to our clients. So this is a great week with a very diverse audience where we can basically tap into different minds and opportunities.
And I'm curious, so far in the conference, are there certain conversations or topics of discussion that you found engaging?
Oh, yeah. Well, we had several good things, actually. A lot of conversation, discussion, as you would expect, about what is to come on VCM, expectations about Baku, right? I don't have too many, to be honest with you. I think major decisions are going to come probably in Brazil, in Belém. That's also something that I've been hearing consistently this couple of days. So very interesting discussions also on supply chain and scope 3. So we're starting to see more and more in setting discussions or climate smart commodity discussions, and people starting to look at our carbon markets more as a matter of risk management rather than an opportunity, right? So if you manage your risk properly, you may eventually monetize your climate action. So I've seen several things around that, and so far so good.
And that's interesting, the idea of looking at carbon markets as a risk management tool as opposed to an opportunity. In your role at StoneX, how does that change what people are looking to you for?
Okay, StoneX is a commodities company. We do a lot of risk management for other commodities. Carbon for us is just another asset class, right? So we have over 54,000 institutional and commercial clients that have exposure to carbon markets, either because they're regulated or because they have voluntary commitments, right? So many of them don't understand what are the potential impacts, risks, and opportunities. So they come to us typically to ask us for help on that end, either because someone is knocking on their doors, say, look, you have a potential asset I can help you develop, and you can make this amount of money by selling it, or because they hear a lot about regulations that may impact their business. So I can give an example. We have some of our metals clients approaching us concerned about CBAM. Is how can I manage my exposure to EUAs, to the EU market right now in anticipation for the CBAM regulation, which is ineffective to them, but it starts applying in early 2026. So we see a difference in the marketplace today. Companies actually more concerned about tackling their scope 3 emissions because some of the international buyers or food companies, for example, may eventually not buy your products in a couple of years. You don't comply with certain carbon intensity requirements. So it's changing a bit in the sense that people really seeing that as a risk topic that needs to be managed. So since we are exposed to those commodity markets, we are getting a lot of inquiries about that, more than typical project development support.
And you had mentioned potential innovations in carbon markets being discussed at the conference. Are there certain innovations that you find your customers coming to you looking for, or certain ones that maybe they should be coming to you looking for?
Oh, yes, there's several clients of ours, especially in the ag space, that sell to food companies, looking for opportunities to decarbonize scope 3. So very interested in the settings topic and climate smart commodities. A lot of those guys also concerned about how can we get a premium on our commodity if we decarbonize, how I can get paid for that, right? So I think a lot of the innovation that people are looking for and trying to figure out is that for some sectors, maybe traditional carbon markets are not the best way to monetize climate action, right? The other thing is on the risk management, there's very little contracts out there, you guys know better than I do, for participants of the VCM to hedge their risk, right? So many times also companies are looking for opportunities on how they can hedge my risk. I'm a coffee producer, I'm used to hedge my coffee price. So can I do that with my carbon exposure? Unfortunately, we don't have too much of that is still in the voluntary carbon markets, but we see a lot of a positive progress there as well. So those are the things we see more and more.
Okay. You may have answered the question I wanted to ask you next there, but I was just curious what sort of opportunities and challenges you're seeing facing your clients or facing StoneX in, really making these markets work for people's climate action strategies.
Okay. Well, I think all the scrutiny that we have seen in the past 2 years around the structure of the carbon markets as we know it so far, right, has been a little bit unfair, I would say, in certain aspects. Of course, I'm very pro in strengthening transparency, integrity, and quality of the assets we generate through the carbon market mechanisms. I think also I'm a bit concerned that we won't be able to get to our goals only by regulation. With the policies that we have implemented, with the NDCs as we have them right now, we may get to 2.7 centigrades. So we need increased ambition from countries, but we also need voluntary action. We're going to need to fill in that gap with voluntary action. So we need more clarity for investors. They're willing to put money down to invest in mitigation initiatives. They're going to produce the necessary emission reductions or the capture, right? The emission, the carbon removals. We need some more clarity for the investors to put money down and invest in those projects. So this is something that we need to see. I'm really hoping that in Baku, we're going to see some resolutions around Article 6 that is going to help a bit. Also, I think SBTI and other initiatives have to figure out Scope 3 emissions. Can we use offsets or not? And to which extent, right? So companies have a more clarity when they're setting up their decarbonization strategies. So I think this is critical for carbon markets, voluntary carbon markets mostly. First is a resolution on Article 6 once and for all, understand how it impacts our markets. And second is understand how eventually changes to SBTIs and other mechanisms out there will affect our ability to decarbonize using offsets.
Well, thanks so much for dropping by and spending a little time with us.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.